I'm from Saratov city, which is on the river Volga in Russia. And that's where I was born and spent my childhood until about 13 years old. And then I moved to Moscow. Well, I grew up in a Romani family, and we basically had the tradition, yes, of music and dance during, like parties, celebrations. So that's my childhood basically was like that. Well, my memories of Saratov city from the childhood basically, and I had relatives there, so I grew up going to school, a regular Soviet school at that time in the 80s, and yeah, I am in touch with some of my family members from Saratov city. Well, I didn't have this experience like to be discriminated, right? As a Roma, myself as a Romani person in my childhood. But I heard some stories of other people that were discriminated against. And I just grew up in like musical tradition, right? So family. And so I didn't experience that against me personally. Well, my first expression was very interesting. So I remember when he was coming to Saratov city, and basically he was playing on his guitar at our home in Saratov, and I wanted to play like him. So it was my big expression for me. And so then I started playing and learning guitar on a 6-string guitar first. And then when I seriously studied guitar with him, later on I moved to Moscow when I was about 13 years old. Then I studied with him every day for like 5 or 6 years. So that was my university study with my uncle. Well, he was a great teacher. He is a great teacher, and he's teaching other students now. But for me, it was very special. So I literally lived with him, in the same house, and studied with him like for many years, for about 5 or 6 years. And every day I was practicing guitar, 7-string guitar, and with him for many hours, like maybe 7, 8 hours a day. So I was very passionate about it. And he was a great teacher for me. He was very professional. You can't imagine just study with the best guitar player, one of the best guitar players, as a personal teacher for you. The Gilori studio was basically an art center for Romani performing arts for children and young teenagers. So I was part of it. Besides my study with my uncle Alexander, I was studying at the Gilori with one of the great artists, teachers, dance, acting, and they were from Romen Theater, where I started working when I was about 15 years old myself. And my uncle was a music director of that theater and lead guitar player at the Romen Theater. So the Gilori was a starting point for me and we are still in touch with, I'm still in touch with the guys that I was studying together over there. So they are great artists now, performers in Russia. And so we collaborate sometimes, and see each other when I visit Russia or they come to the United States. I learned a lot at the Romen Theater. I was acting, dancing, playing guitar, lead guitar, accompany everybody, and just have been practicing with, studying with legendary artists, great performers at the Romen Theater. So that was my other school of performing arts in Romani Gypsy style. Yeah, in the 90s, it was hard time in Russia, right? So the Soviet Union collapsed and the economy was very bad. But you could have made like much more money performing elsewhere than the Romen Theater, like restaurants or some gigs. And I was doing that too with other artists in town, like with great performers of Romani Gypsy music in Russia, and different bands, and performers. But the Romen Theater was kind of like institution for a Romani performing arts center, basically, and everybody wanted to be part of it, to be artists of the Romen Theater, because it's a big stage, it's a well-known theater for 80 or 90 years old right now. Well, the reasons I moved to United States, because I like the culture of United States when I even used to live in Russia. So we grew up on music like jazz, funk, R&B, Michael Jackson, and all this culture of pop music. And when I came to United States when I was about 17 years old, so it was a big tour that we've done with my uncle for about a couple of months. So we performed in, big stages, big performing arts centers like Kennedy Center and places like that. And I loved the audience, how they accept the music that what we do, and just people in general, the freedom of United States, the culture, the music, the economy. So everything that brought to me to United States was actually what I was thinking of when I used to live in Russia. Well, the American musicians of jazz music, of blues, R&B, pop, is number one, the top, right? So, and we grew up on that music, and when I came here and moved to the United States, I played with some of these musicians, and comparing to musicians in Russia, there's no difference in the level of musicians, because the musicians that I played in Russia were top musicians of, gypsy music, classical music, and Russian folk music. So it's just different styles, but of the top musicians of United States, like in jazz style, and the genres I mentioned are great here. It was a pleasure to play with them, and I still do play with them. I never regretted playing on a 7-string guitar that I do. But I developed style besides the traditional style of Russian gypsy music on 7-string guitar or Russian music. I developed my own style. So basically I mixed, made a fusion kind of tradition that I know with jazz, flamenco, Latin, and all kinds of music that I like. So it became my own, and nobody played before, I think, or not playing much, this kind of music that I mentioned, beside the traditional music of Russian 7-string guitar. Well, tour with Madonna was something special. So we played more than 80 concerts, I think, all around the world. So we performed on largest stages that you can imagine. It was like a Wembley Stadium in the UK, for example, or Maracanã Stadium in Brazil, in Rio, and then Madison Square Garden in New York. So it was a huge project on the highest level, pop music. And I learned a lot. Yeah, I learned a lot. And it was a pleasure performing with artists like Madonna and the band that she has, and dancers, the top dancers of the world. And we just had something to present in this show with our music, traditional music. So we were guest artists with my uncle's trio. So that was great. I have a few students that are playing on the 7-string guitar, and I have some of them playing on 6-string guitar. But the students that I kind of rely on right now are a couple of young guys, two young boys that are trying to learn the tradition of 7-string guitar. And one of them is in Germany, he is Romani, from Ukraine, and another one is a Russian teenager from Russia. So I teach them on Skype, but they try to understand and learn the actual tradition of the 7-string guitar, which is so good. I'm trying to teach them different styles beside the traditional and my music and my style of playing. So I'm trying to give them something more, and I hope they're going to continue and be great musicians. Well, I come from the family, right, of musicians and artists, performers. So here in the United States, my wife is a dancer. She does flamenco and gypsy style of dancing. My son is a dancer, ballroom dancer, and a singer, and he's playing percussion, but not guitar. And my nephew, who is a professional virtuoso guitar player, but he is playing on 6-string guitar. So I'm hoping that my students, 7-string guitar players, will continue the tradition, not even from my family, but they're really passionate about it. So we hope that this tradition will be kept alive. What music means to me? Well, that means everything to me. It's life for me. It's part of my life, always been. It's happiness, it's sometimes sadness, sometimes you feel like you can't live without it. But the most important thing is that music, whatever I do, any music, I give it to people, right? I present it to people, and that's the reason why I do. I would advise to learn the roots of any music that they try to study. That's the first thing. And then add something their own to it and kind of create it their own way, their own style, like I did. And continue the tradition on one side and also modernize it, do it your own way. And of course, practice a lot. My plans, of course, you know, I have a lot of projects, and each of them are great, in my opinion. I mean, the bands that I created, the shows, but my kind of new project is school or method of guitar playing of 7-string Gypsy style, my style. So I'm working on a book right now with my colleague, Dr. Oleg Timofeyev, who is also a guitarist, 7-string guitarist and a musicologist. So for many years we were playing together as a duo in the band, and then we just decided to create a book and also a video method, a video school of my guitar playing. Well, here we go. So this is wine with my label on it. So by the Stardust Cellars company, and that's Cabernet Sauvignon. So the company just offered me to have a label on their wine, but the people that tried this wine, they like it. So I hope that everybody else who will try this wine will like it as well. The information is on my website, vadimkolpakov.com, so anybody can check it out and purchase it. Well, I brought a couple of guitars here, only 3, but they all are great. So this one is a 7-string guitar by the Cremona company. So we developed together with the Cremona company the 7-string model, and they are selling this guitar right now for like, I don't know, last 10 years since we developed that instrument. And they have, you know, great guitars, 6-string guitars, 7-string guitars, 2 models, and sounds like this. So that's Cremona guitar. And then this guitar that I have is from 1910, so it's, or even 1902, so it's more than 100 years old. It's not tuned well, but it sounds great. And the other one that I have here is modern guitar, 7-string guitar, developed by the luthier, one of the luthiers from Ukraine. So I'm selling this guitar. It's one of my guitars in my collection. And if anybody interested, they can check and contact me on my website, vadimkolpakov.com. Well, I wish everybody success, health for many, many years, and listen to great music always.